top stories today. Elder statesman and First Republic Federal Information Commissioner, Chief Edwin, has raised concern over the misfortunes that have gripped victims of flooding in the Niger Delta, with a call on the federal government to act fast because of looming disasters and humanitarian crisis. The National Human Rights Commission on Sunday yesterday raised concern over the rising food prices in the country, saying that it had worsened access to healthy and nutritious food, especially among internally displaced persons and vulnerable groups, leading to an increase in widespread hunger and low quality of life. From the foreign scene, the Ukrainian capital Kyiv has been hit by at least 4 explosions, with a presidential advisor blaming kamikaze drones sent by Russia. It's a lovely Monday and, of course, a lovely day. It's been sunny today. Welcome to Radio Sapientia 95.3 FM Onitsha. We're also live on TV Sapientia on TSTV channel 360, StarTimes channel 260, Moplex channel 208, and free-to-air channel 51.5 East. Welcome to the World News at noon with me, Choma Vic Chukwemeka. Now the news in full. All right, the elder statesman and First Republic Federal Information Commissioner, Chief Edwin Clark, has raised concern over the misfortunes that have gripped victims of flooding in the Niger Delta, with a call on the federal government to act fast because of looming disasters and humanitarian crisis. He queried why the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, whose mandate was to ensure strategic disaster mitigation, preparedness and response, has neither been to the Niger Delta nor sent any relief materials to them, but donated food items to vulnerable and displaced persons as a result of banditry in Sokoto State. Chief Clark raised the issues in a statement titled "The Deplorable Conditions of Flood Victims Need for Federal Government to Act Fast Not to Abandon the Niger Delta," obtained by journalists in Abuja on Sunday. Moving on in the news, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has come under immense fire following his advice to Northerners that they should vote for him in the 2023 election because he hails from the northern region. Atiku, who stated this during an interactive session with the Arawa Joint Committee in Kaduna at the weekend, specifically on Saturday, told his audience not to support a Yoruba or Igbo candidate, in reference to the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, and his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi. However, his comment has attracted widespread condemnation from the APC, the LP, the New Nigeria People's Party, the Yoruba Social Cultural Group, Afenifere, the Apex Igbo Group, Ohaneze Ndigbo, and civil society organizations. Of course, we are following on this particular story and we'll keep updating you as it unfolds. Moving on right now to Zamfara State. The state government has shut down 3 television stations and an FM radio station. Now, the affected media stations are the Nigeria Television Authority, Gamji TV, Al Omar TV, and Pride FM Radio, all in Gusau, the state capital. In a radio broadcast, the State Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, said the media houses were shut down for allegedly violating professional ethics. According to Dosara, the affected media houses attended the rally organized by the opposition People's Democratic Party in the state, while the state government had earlier banned political rallies for security reasons. The National Human Rights Commission yesterday Sunday raised concern over the rising food prices in the country, saying it had worsened access to healthy and nutritious food, especially among internally displaced persons and vulnerable groups, leading to an increase in widespread hunger and low quality of life. The Commission attributed the scenario to several factors, including the insecurity chasing farmers from their farms, coupled with many submerged farmlands due to the flooding in some parts of the country. Now, the Commission's Executive Secretary, Chief Tony Ojukusan, according to a statement by the NHRC Deputy Director of Public Affairs and External Linkages, Fatima Mohammed, stated this in Abuja as Nigeria joins the global community to celebrate World Food Day, which is celebrated on October 16 every year. Now let's head over to Imo State. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, has donated relief materials to the victims of flooding in communities in the Ohaji, Ebama and Oguta local government areas of the state. The governor also disclosed that his administration had activated plans to curb flooding in communities in the state. Uzodinma said the planned dredging of the Oguta Lake and Orashi River by the federal government would go a long way in mitigating the effect of disasters caused by flooding in the areas. And of course, the federal government yesterday, Sunday, said the floods ravaging parts of the country have so far claimed 603 lives. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, disclosed these at a press conference in Abuja. She said, as of today, in quote, the number of persons affected nationwide is 2,504,095. The number of those displaced nationwide is 1,302,589. The number of injuries stands at 2,407, and the number of deaths is 603. The number of houses that are partially damaged is 121,318. The number of houses that are damaged stands at 82,053. Farmlands that are partially damaged are 108,392 hectares, while damaged farmlands are 332,327 hectares. Now, this is the statistic. That's the statistics of October 16, 2022. That was yesterday. Okay, she continued to say that the government was concerned that despite all the efforts of averting the consequence of the 2022 flooding season, the country had unfortunately recorded the loss of over 600 lives and, of course, still counting. Quite sad. Moving on right now. Of course, you're still listening to World News here on Radio Sapientia 95.3 FM Onitsha. We're also live on TV. Still to come on the news. On ASU, universities hold emergency meetings on resumption. These and other stories will come your way after this time out. Kindly stay with us. Welcome back to the news, and thank you so much for staying with us now on the rest of the bulletin. All right, following the suspension of the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, now we have found out that public universities across the country have made plans for special meetings of the Senate Councils in preparation for examinations and resumptions. ASU on Friday, October 14, announced a suspension of the strike that commenced on Monday, February 14, 2022. In a statement by the union's national president, Professor Emmanuel Shodeke, the union explained that it suspended the strike based on a court order, while noting that the government had yet to meet some of its demands. Findings revealed that the universities are set to hold special meetings to deliberate on new academic calendars instead of the one that was destabilized by the strike. We are following on this particular story and we'll bring you details as it unfolds. Now, in Anambra State, the state governor's wife, Mrs. Noye Soludo, has said that winning the war against every form of domestic violence and abuses could remain a mirage if offenders continue to get mild sanctions. Mrs. Soludo, who was speaking in Oka, observed that the law must assume firmer and tougher positions in punishing those who have been found guilty of violent abuses. The governor's wife explained that in cases where those who have been found guilty of rape, child molestation and exploitation, sex trafficking and trafficking for labor and domestic violence, among other related crimes, are given lax punishments in neglect of the gravity of the offenses, more escape routes are indirectly being opened up for intending culprits. She emphasized that while the crusade to eliminate all forms of social degradations is a collective duty, the judiciary, as an important organ in the process of rule of law, must show greater commitment in interpreting relevant laws. Still in Anambra State, the Catholic Bishop of Nnewi Diocese, Most Reverend Jonas Benson Okoye, has described the Executive Chairman of Pokobros Group West Africa Limited, Chief Paul A. Okonkwo, as a very generous man who lives for the good of others. Most Reverend Okoye made the remarks while delivering the homily at a Thanksgiving Mass at the Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity on Onitsha to mark the 80th birthday of the business mogul and the 60th birthday of his wife, Chief Mrs. Florence Okonkwo. Now, the cleric commended Chief Okonkwo for his benevolence and philanthropic dispositions and beckoned on other wealthy individuals to emulate him. He recounted some of Chief Okonkwo's numerous charitable activities, to include paying school fees for the less privileged and indigent members of the society, building and renovation of classroom blocks at various schools, helping the poor, the needy, widows, orphans, and other less privileged individuals, and donating massively to the development of the church and his community, Isofia, in Agwata local government area of Anambra State. In a vote of thanks, Chief Okonkwo and his wife Florence appreciated God for the immense blessings bestowed on them and their family, and further expressed gratitude to the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, the staff and management of their company, Pokobros Group West Africa Limited, hundreds of guests, all the priests, religious and bishops who attended the birthday ceremony, including Archbishop Valerian Okeke of the Archdiocese of Onitsha, Bishop Martin Uzo Ugu of Mina Diocese, Bishop Paulinus Ezokafo of Oka Diocese, Bishop Jonas Benson Okoye of Nnewi Diocese, and Bishop Solomon Amatu of Okiwe Diocese. All right, let's move over to the interesting world of sports. A second half goal from Nigeria international Victor Osimhen helped Napoli secure a 3-2 win over a resilient Bologna at the Stadio Diego Maradona on Sunday. Yesterday, it was Osimhen's second consecutive goal since he returned from the injury that saw him ruled out of action for 6 weeks. The Partenopians were looking to claim a 10th consecutive victory in all competitions when they welcomed Serie A strugglers Bologna, but were made to work hard by the visitors. Now let's move to Ukraine. Now the Ukrainian capital Kyiv has been hit by at least 4 explosions, with a presidential advisor blaming kamikaze drones sent by Russia. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said residential buildings in the central area had been damaged. A week ago, the capital was hit by Russian missiles at rush hour, part of nationwide attacks which left 19 dead. Now, this morning's attacks were from drones. That's the low buzzing of these slow-moving weapons is becoming familiar across the country. Hundreds of Met police officers have been getting away with breaking the law and misconduct. That's according to a damning report. Baroness Louis Cassie found many claims of sexual misconduct, misogyny, racism and homophobia were badly mishandled. One 7 officer had 11 misconduct notices for allegations involving assault, sexual harassment and fraud. Met Police Commissioner Samak Rowley said the findings showed hundreds of its officers should have been sacked. The Met is investigating more than 600 domestic and sexual abuse allegations against its officers. All right, 4 prisoners have died and 61 have been injured following a major fire at Iran's notorious Evin prison, according to an Iranian state news agency. Sources inside the prison, which is known for housing political prisoners, have said that number of casualties is higher. Videos shared online showed flames and smoke at the site in Tehran, and gunshots and explosions could be heard. The fire followed weeks of anti-government protests across Iran. Hundreds of those taking part in the protest have been sent to Evin prison. It is not known whether the situation at the jail is linked to the demonstrations or not. All right, that's a wrap on the news stories today. Let's check the headlines once more. We told you that the elder statesman and First Republic Federal Information Commissioner Chief Edwin Clark has raised concern over the misfortunes that have gripped victims of flooding in the Niger Delta, with a call on the federal government to act fast because of looming disasters and humanitarian crisis. We also told you that the National Human Rights Commission on Sunday yesterday raised concern over the rising food prices in the country, saying it had worsened access to healthy and nutritious food, especially among internally displaced persons and vulnerable groups, leading to an increase in widespread hunger and low quality of life. From Ukraine, the Ukrainian capital Kyiv has been hit by at least 4 explosions, with a presidential advisor blaming kamikaze drones sent by Russia. That's it on the World News today. On behalf of the entire news production team, my name is Choma Vic Chukwemeka. Of course, stay with us here on Radio Sapientia 95.3 FM Onitsha. We're also live on TV Sapientia. Meanwhile, at exactly 1 p.m. on Sapientia Radio, that's 95.3 FM Onitsha, will bring you Fan Zone. While on TV Sapientia, on TSTV, channel 360, StarTime channel 260, Moplex channel 208, and free to air, channel 51.5 East, it will be movies and musicals. Be kindly security conscious and be kind to people. Do have a smashing week ahead of you. Good afternoon.